How's it going, Kellers? It's your boy Kelendrin 69420, and we're here at Mount Massive Asylum, where there's been some reports of some crazy shit happening. Today, we're gonna take a look inside and show the world what's hiding behind these imposing walls. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to show how much you love exploring creepy buildings. Alright, we're inside, but the light blew out. Shit, let me figure out how to get the night vision on. Oh, got it. Holy crap, guys. This place is creepy. Ew, what is that? Blood? That's gotta be fake, right? Alright guys, I just saw some crazy shit. We gotta get the hell out of here right now. Who are you? Get your hands off me! Ah! Hello, boils and ghouls. It's that time of year. That's right, the spooky time. The time to sit down, grab your controller or keyboard, turn out the lights, and immerse yourself in horror games to really get into that Halloween spirit. And that, dear viewer, is exactly what we're gonna do today. Outlast, for those unfamiliar, is a found-footage horror game released in 2013 that features some eccentric characters, cheap jump scares, and a smidge of body horror. I personally have a love-hate relationship with this game that we'll get into later, but Outlast was the first real horror game I ever played, and because of it, I have a fondness for it whenever I look back on it. That being said, the last time I played it was sometime in 2014 when it released on the PS4, and that was with friends, so this will not only be my first time playing it in 10 years, but also alone. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. The game opens with a warning about intense violence and a short story preface. You are Miles Upshur, an investigative reporter whose ambition is about to earn him an intimate tour of hell on Earth. Always willing to risk digging into the stories no other journalist would dare investigate, you will seek out the dark secret at the heart of Mount Massive Asylum. Stay alive as long as you can. Record everything. You are not a fighter. To navigate the horrors of Mount Massive and expose the truth, your only choices are to run, hide, or die. Alright, well, technically that last one isn't really a choice, you just do that, but hey, whatever. We then get a scene of our character driving up a dark road, the asylum looming at the top of the hill, beckoning us inside. Parking the car, Miles pulls out a printed, for some reason, email that was sent to him from a whistleblower inside Murkoff Corporation, the company that owns the imposing castle in front of us. Grabbing his camera and notebook, Miles exits the car. Approaching the asylum, we find that, wouldn't you know it, the front doors are locked. Never one to take a hint, we find a hole in the nearby fence and make our way up some scaffolding to sneak in through an open window. As we enter the asylum, we are introduced to our limited resource for the duration of the game: batteries. This precious resource is without a doubt the most important thing in the game, and if you don't conserve them, you won't be able to use the night vision on your camera, and you will find yourself groping around in the dark. Trust me, when you see what some of the enemies in this game aren't wearing, you won't want to be reaching around blindly, if you know what I mean. After learning about the night vision on our camera, we begin making our way through the hallways to find more info on what's going on in the asylum. We nearly immediately hit our first copper-scented red flag, and yet somehow don't immediately leave. Despite an overall weird atmosphere, it hasn't been too scary, right? Forgot about that. I definitely forgot about that. This room is where they keep the heads, apparently. That's kind of a thing in Outlast. There's a lot of scenes and designs that kind of exist just to be there. I'm not saying it's bad. It definitely adds to the overall tone of the game, but it's still a bit random. Inside the headroom is also this guy, who seems to have had a run-in with Vlad, and he tells us to turn around and get the fuck out. I checked, we can't. Pressing onward, we have our first run-in with an enemy that definitely won't wear out his welcome. He throws us from the upper level, and that's the game. Just kidding. Miles has an adamantium spine and is mostly fine. As Miles is recovering from his concussion, he sees a priest talking some cryptic shit about him being an apostle, and then we actually wake up sometime later. The front door is within reach, but the building is in lockdown, so we make our way to the security room to unlock the front doors. As we're doing this, Father Martin, the priest from earlier, apparently has his own plans and shuts off the power. Right on cue, the express elevator begins breaking through the door of the security room, but fortunately he's bad at guessing and chooses the wrong locker to look inside of. We make a mad dash into the basement and get the power back on, while navigating around the first real enemy encounter. Oh my god, dude was right fucking there. Okay, alright, bro. Alright, yep, that's what I meant to do. Oh my god, dude, chill, get the fuck off of me, dog. Yo, bro, chill. Alright. Right as we're about to unlock the front doors, we get captured and awake in a padded cell. With no clue where in the asylum we are, we begin walking in any direction we can to try to make our way out. We also meet these guys, who we won't look at too closely. After making our way through the various cells, we eventually find our way into the sewers, where we come face to face with the big guy again, who, through documents we've found out is named Chris, and he's this way because PTSD. Yep, that's how that works. Anyways, we need to drain the water from the lower levels so we can make it to the other side of the complex. We expertly navigate around Chris and escape the sewers only to be chased by a seemingly endless horde of inmates. During the pursuit, we are beckoned towards a dumbwaiter by a potential savior. Well, so far everyone we've met here has had our best interest in mind, right? Wrong. So, this lovely leathery-skinned gentleman is Dr. Traeger. He's the reason most of the patients in this asylum look this way. He's nice enough to offer us a trip outside, but the silly little guy forgot to undo the straps in our chair, so we'll just have to come back later.
I'll wait here. Go on, run free. I'm in no hurry. No? All right. Nose to the grindstone, I like that. Okay then, right this way.
Down in Traeger's makeshift operating room, he talks to us while looking through his surgical tools, but I'm not really listening. My thoughts are interrupted by Traeger taking a pair of urinal scissors and giving us quite the shocker. When he leaves to go tend to some other business, we free ourselves and attempt to make our escape. After a quick game of cat and mouse and a good jump scare or two, Traeger decides to take a nap in a compromising position. After killing Traeger, we continue on our quest to get the fuck out of this place. As we navigate through the asylum, we meet with Father Martin, who asks us to meet him outside. Oh, really? Just meet you outside, huh? It's that easy. Why didn't I think to just go outside? Why? Why didn't I think? Anyways, on our way to get outside, we put out a fire, get jump scared, and expertly avoid our old pal Chris. Side note, I had a memory of this being way scarier than it actually ended up being. Not sure why, but the memory of being in the dark with hardly any hiding places was a terrifying thought, but in practice, as long as you stay crouched here, Chris won't see you. Another side note, much less terrifying when you know his name is Chris. During our time outside, we do come face to face with something we've heard about in passing up to this point, but haven't actually seen: the Wall Rider. So, this guy is basically a ghost. That's it. I mean, there is more, but at this point, that's all he is to us. We make our way back inside the asylum, this time in the female ward. We see Father Martin up on a ledge telling us we need to get the key to have access to meet him upstairs. So, onward again. We expertly avoid a couple patients and manage to collect a few fuses so we can get the key from this nice gentleman and make our way upstairs. Unfortunately for us, your mom was a patient here, so the floor is caved in and destroyed, causing us to have to move carefully along the debris to get to the other side. Things don't go as planned, however, as when we make the jump to the ledge, the floor breaks further, causing us to drop our camera. We watch as it falls between the floorboards to the level below. This is an interesting part of the game. Throughout the duration of our playthrough, despite everything, we've had the ability to have sight on our side, even in the darkest areas due to the night vision function on our camera. Now, however, we have to navigate through the dark to retrieve our only companion without the comfort of vision. Admittedly, it's not as dark as it could be, but there's still much less visibility than we'd normally have. This is a very well done sequence, and the end, when we finally do get our camera back, is just perfect. So we have the camera again, and I mean, it's mostly functional still. Whatever. We don't have long to linger as we're chased all the way back to where we fell initially. We make it up safely and escape towards the final stretch of the game. We finally get close to meeting up with Father Martin, but we have a couple more tasks left. We make our way through the office portion of the asylum, making our way through the hallways when we once again receive a visit from the sentient scrotum himself, Chris Walker. By this point, truth be told, I'm no longer scared of Chris. I kinda just straight up ran past him and jumped straight into the vent. Anyways, we meet one of Father Martin's followers and are guided towards the theater. Inside, we see a film. It's an interview with a Dr. Wernicke talking about his experiments during World War II. You might be able to guess from the name, but he wasn't on our side. Anyways, there's some important information here regarding what exactly Murkoff is doing in this facility. This is sort of one piece of the puzzle, so we'll compile everything in a moment. We get a key from the projector room and finally make our way to meet with Father Martin. Oh yeah, remember the crazy naked guys from earlier? Turns out they work for him. So what was it Father Martin wanted from us this whole time? Well, apparently, he basically just needs a cameraman to record his death and resurrection so we can tell the world of what we saw here. They all worship the Walrider and believe in some way this will make them one with him. Side note, there's actually a document you can find in the game that explains that Father Martin is actually not a father at all and is actually just a zealous patient in the asylum. That explains a lot. Anyways, we witness the church cookout and receive the key to unlock the elevator. It's not a smooth escape, however. As we reach the lobby, the elevator briefly stops for us to see the exit, and then it continues descending. The regular dingy walls slowly become clean, smooth concrete as we move lower and lower below the facility. The doors open to reveal a clean, white corridor. This is the Murkoff Corporation's laboratory. Okay, so I haven't been sure where to put all this information, but I'll give the most concise, no extra fat explanation I can of the core story, mostly found through documents laying around, which, is the best storytelling format. Basically, there's this ghost that we've kept hearing about in passing called the Walrider. The Walrider is a breakthrough creation of Dr. Wernicke, who has continued his work from 1943. But Kel, I hear you say, what do you mean he created a ghost? Isn't this supernatural? Well, no. Actually, the ghost you see is the result of Murkoff stuffing a dude named Billy into an MK Ultra machine and making him control a swarm of nanobots. This ghost, this one right here, yeah, that's science, baby. So you might be wondering to yourself, why? Well, that's probably the easiest question. They can sell it as a weapon. Of course, it being operated by an insane person that just randomly goes on a killing spree willy-nilly is a bit of a setback, however minor it may be. Okay, are we all caught up? I know this is a bit disjointed, but you basically learn all of this from piecing together about 12 notes, so yeah. Anyways, now that we're inside the main lab, we start exploring and try to get to the bottom of this Walrider stuff. Inside, we do meet Dr. Wernicke, who explains that he's being kept alive by Billy, the Walrider, who thinks of him as a father. He tasks us with shutting down the machine called the morphogenic engine and killing the Walrider. Onward we go to kill the not ghost, really putting a damper on the whole spooky Halloween episode by saying it's robots, by the way. Oh, and that his name is Billy. Thanks, Wernicke. Shortly after leaving for the main lab, we come face to face with Billy Walrider himself, who chases us down the halls in an effort to stop us. During our chase, dear old Chris kicks open the door. As he's about to kill us, Billy comes in clutch and gives him a tour of the air conditioning system, and while they're preoccupied, we take this opportunity to sprint to the morphogenic engine room and shut down the generators. While Billy does try to stop us throughout, I made sure to record the whole time, and since cameraman never dies, I successfully managed to shut down the engine and kill Billy just in the nick of time. Well, kind of. As we're leaving, we're stopped by Murkoff agents that were sent to clean up the site. They shoot us, and then we find out that Miles has become the new host of the Walrider. I'm not entirely sure how this works, given that it's a swarm of nanites that was being controlled by a person in a machine that is now dead. But hey, whatever, it's fine. So that's it for Outlast. But we're not quite done. There's a DLC called Whistleblower. It's pretty short, and to be honest, most of it isn't entirely relevant to the overall plot. And there's a lot I wouldn't be able to show on screen. So for this, we're just gonna cover the important bits. Whistleblower centers around Wayland Park, the guy who sent the email to Miles at the beginning of the base game and the whole reason we were even at the Asylum in the first place. Wayland works for Murkoff as an IT guy supporting the morphogenic engine. He's caught sending the email to Miles, and Murkoff opts to enroll Wayland in the MK Ultra testing. I guess Wayland's contract said other duties as assigned somewhere in there. Anyways, shortly after this is when the Walrider begins tearing apart the Asylum. Our sole objective is to get out and survive the night. After facing a couple new notable enemies like Naked Sawman and the Groom, we manage to keep our bits, evade Murkoff cleanup agents, and make our escape from the Asylum. The important part here, and why we're covering this DLC, is because of the ending. You see, we make it out of the front door of Mount Massive and escape to Miles' Jeep that we arrived in at the beginning of the base game. As we're leaving, we see Miles, the new Walrider host, coming out of the front of the building, confirming he did in fact survive the end of the game. After this, there's a short scene of Wayland uploading the footage we recorded and exposing Murkoff. And that's all of Outlast. There's definitely a lot more here in documents and some not as important stuff I left out for the sake of time, so I definitely recommend playing it yourself if you want more of the optional story. To be honest, gameplay-wise, while there were a few parts that I enjoyed more than I remember, most of the game is marred by one major issue, at least for me. You see, I stopped being scared towards the last half of the game. Outside of a couple jump scares, I found myself being more annoyed by enemies like Chris. I straight up was just running up to him, getting hit once or twice so I could get past him and to the objective he was blocking. All the tension was gone, and I straight up was never afraid of the Walrider. The DLC is somewhat better about this, but still has it to a certain degree. I still enjoyed my time with it, but it's definitely got some problems with holding tension. That being said, it's by no means a bad game. If you're into the found footage horror genre, you may find yourself really liking Outlast. Personally, while I feel it has a fair bit of problems, I do enjoy it a lot. When I think of horror games, Outlast is one of the first to pop into my head, both for its gritty vibe and spooky atmosphere, and the feelings I remember having the first time I played through it. If you're looking for a fun horror romp on Halloween, Outlast is definitely worth your consideration. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Your support is the reason for my motivation, and if you have any ideas for games for me to cover, leave a comment or share what games you're playing this Halloween. Thanks for watching, and have a spooky Halloween.